the Sportscast, January 23rd, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And, of course, visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net. This episode is brought to you by InstaBible. Get the InstaBible app on your iPhone, download it, and share it to the world. Tonight, we have a special show. We're recapping Alabama football, what happened this past season. And we have some special guests, pretty popular on Twitter. We met them through Twitter, which we met a lot of our new friends through Twitter. Thank God for Twitter. And they are Alabama fans, and they operate the Twitter account that covers Alabama football. And anyways, we'll have them introduce them to the Sportscast, and we got Jayde just have Jayde just start off the show. Hey, Jayde, welcome to the Sportscast.
Hey, how are you?
Good, and we got your friend
Katelyn.
Welcome to the Sportscast, and can you tell us a little bit about your Twitter feeds and what you girls do when Alabama football is on?
Yeah, so we actually created the Twitter from our YouTube show, Bama Network, which is where we recap all Alabama sports, basically football, basketball, baseball, gymnastics, etc. And we use the Twitter to, at first we created it to promote our videos, and we kind of just started using it as we got more followers to talk about Alabama sports, tweet out about games happening, scores, what's happening during the game, and interact with our followers about what is going on in the sports world.
Now, you two girls go to Alabama, don't you?
We do.
And how long, have you been with Alabama? How many years have you been students there?
We actually both transferred last spring, so this will be we're going into our third semester here at Alabama. We're both also news media majors.
Now, why did you girls transfer to Alabama? What was the reason?
Well, both for similar reasons. I transferred from San Diego, California, and it's my dream to become a sports broadcaster. And so when I was going through the transferring process, I had to think about what was the best school for me to really pursue that dream. And what better place than Alabama with great football and great sports all around, especially a great news media program. So that's what drew me here.
And tell us a little bit.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I transferred from Eastern Kentucky University for the same reason. I have been an Alabama fan for a long time, so this was like the perfect place for me to pursue a career in news media, especially in the sports field.
Now, tell us about the Bama Network. What prompted you to start it? Was it a idea that you had for a while, or you two just came up with it?
Well, I mean, with the sports media career in general, it's become very impacted over the years, especially with women becoming more popular in that field. So over summer, we both had the same dream to pursue sports broadcasting, and we were trying to figure out, how can we improve our resume and set us apart from other people and other applicants when it comes to interning and whatnot after graduation. And so, YouTube is a huge social media way that a lot of companies, ESPN even uses YouTube to post their videos. So we decided that we wanted to kind of get some practice in front of the camera and just share our knowledge as well as learn a lot from each other. So that's what got us started.
And what reaction have you gotten, and what's the feedback you gotten so far?
For the most part, we have received really positive feedback and a lot of support from people, especially on Twitter. We've noticed, I think a lot of people just find the link for the video through our Twitter, and instead of actually commenting on the YouTube video, most of our interaction comes from the Twitter replies. And we've got a lot of support from people, a lot of people that give us good feedback and positive feedback and just things that they want to see from us. And we learn from them just as much as we learn from each other on ways that we can improve the show, things that people want to see us talk about, etc.
And what's the format of the show? Like, what is it? Is it a 1 hour show? Is it 10 minutes? So, what goes into the show?
I mean, honestly, when we first started, we wrote out scripts. We were super prepared for every single show, and we kind of realized, that's not what our audience wants. They just want to break down from our perspective. So kind of after that, I mean, we talked before our filming what we're going to hit on, but we don't really have specifics. We kind of just wing it and go with the flow, and that's what's really worked with us and really captured our audience. Usually it's around like 20 to 30 minutes.
That's not bad. And obviously, you post your videos on YouTube. Do you post clips on Twitter as well?
No, we don't. We just post out the link to the entire video whenever we get it posted.
That makes sense. How about Instagram? How's Instagram affected you girls?
I mean, we use Instagram. It's not been as effective as Twitter. I think it's harder for us to use Instagram as a sports platform because you can't exactly like tweet out games and things that are happening as they're happening. It's more for pictures. So we kind of use it whenever we're doing something like through Bama Network, or after we post a video, we will use it to just post like our thumbnail and say, we just posted a video. The link is in our bio. Go check it out.
Yeah, that's something that with new media and Twitter, it's just become so fast to just gain followers, to gain attraction. Do you see your girls maybe obviously Leah with this network has taken off? Do you see yourself running this full time after college?
We would love to. We'd love to see it turn into something. It may not be centered around Alabama in the future. It could possibly grow into all college sports or several different teams. We don't really know, but we definitely want to take this as a stepping stone into our careers.
Yeah, kind of like Jayde said, I mean, we didn't start this for a platform and for this show to take off. We honestly did this just for the experience and honestly just to have fun and learn more about sports. That's mainly why we're doing it, just to practice.
Was that Twitter handle like the Bama Network? Was that like already available, or did you have to pay someone, or like was that just free for grabs?
Surprisingly, it was just free for grabs.
Unbelievable. You would think like the Alabama or like AL.com would have taken it by now.
Yeah, we thought we would have to put underscores or numbers by it, or we looked it up before we picked the name Bama Network. We actually went back and forth for a while what we wanted to call it, if we wanted to have our names in it, or if we wanted to call it Bama Sports something, and we came up with Bama Network because it was one thing that actually wasn't taken on either platform.
Now, after like this past season, what did you learn that you didn't know before? After this, this college football season. Of course, you guys follow like other sports, in Alabama. But what have you learned after this first football season?
Well, Jayde has always followed Bama football. Her dad is a huge Alabama football fan. As for me, I have never really been a huge college football fan. My family is a huge NFL family. So I just learned everything, like all the history, all the players and stuff this entire season. So it was a huge learning experience for me.
And how about you?
Well, for me, like she said, I've known a lot of the history, but it also just been so helpful for us to come in every week after a game and be like, okay, we watched the game as students, but now let's put on our media glasses and let's dive in deeper to things I really haven't paid attention to in the past. I've watched the game as a fan, and now I'm watching the game as someone from the media trying to break it down. So I've just learned more like little things and like technical things from that aspect. So it's definitely been really helpful.
Have you tried to interview any of the players this past season?
So we've gotten advice from pretty much everyone, professors and more in the university, that Nick Saban is never going to let us anywhere near his team as the media because of how covered they already are. So we haven't tried, but I don't think we would be successful.
But as for other sports, definitely we'll be doing that this season with gymnastics and baseball. And but as for like football and basketball, that seems to not really be an option right now.
Yeah, that's something that I heard. Nick Saban's kind of tight-lipped. Obviously, like they have a national presence, have like a lot of national media. I know ESPN has a dedicated reporter and other big networks as well. So I was wondering about that. But never probably never stop trying. You never know.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Do you like? Have you encountered like other blogs out there? I mean, like how many bloggers are out there just like you girls?
Well, for one, there's a lot of podcasts and a lot of Twitter accounts centered around Alabama sports. I think a lot of people know of it as Bama Twitter. There's so many different accounts, but as far as a YouTube show, as far as we know, we're the first females ever in college to start a YouTube show about sports.
Which is something that Justin, our guest contributor for the Sportscast, told us about it, and I was really surprised about that because it's 2020 already, and you would think this be tons of blogs like you girls, but hey, there's got to be first for everything, right?
Yeah, I think that's why really like Bama Network has taken off and has become so popular is because I think a lot of people find it is interesting to hear a breakdown of games and sports from the perspective of two college girls who obviously are still learning. But I think it's kind of funny how much we do like have a passion for football and other sports as well.
And are you like the only girls in your journalist class that has like their own blog or YouTube channel reporting news?
Well, as for blogs, I'm sure many girls do in our media major. However, we are the only ones that have a YouTube and I think a very successful Twitter regarding Bama sports.
Let's go into Alabama's football season. We'll start off with recap of what you thought.
To kind of sum it up, it was disappointing and that we don't do what we normally do. But the fact, like the girls just mentioned, normally any other team in that situation would fold and they would probably have a 7-win season or probably worse. But just to deal with that kind of adversity and still, win as many games as we did and have a very good bowl victory over Michigan, that's pretty good. And I'm pretty excited about that.
My thoughts about the whole Alabama season, I think there was like 3 points that I thought that was really bad. It was like the whole scheduling thing was bad. I thought it was a little bit too easy for Alabama. 2, it was Tua's injury woes, and 3 was their defense. I think those 3 were pretty obvious. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I'll go first. As far as the scheduling thing, yeah, I agree. The scheduling, it wasn't too flashy, wasn't too sexy, but to be honest with you, given what we dealt with this season, it was probably one of the best things that happened to us, and it allowed us to really fight through a lot of the struggles and the growing pains. But the thing is, regardless of how the schedule was or how bad it was in the viewers of people outside the Bama Nation's eyes, we still had the opportunity by, possibly beating LSU, possibly beating Auburn, and then we're right back in the playoff talk. So I think that the schedule, it could have been better, but it helped us considering what we were dealing with.
How about you, Katelyn and Jayde?
Well, as far as the schedule goes, I agree with you. It definitely did help us. But also, we are kind of known to get some of our difficulty from the season opener, and for us to get Duke from the ACC was just obviously not a good start for a strength of schedule. And then from there, it just kind of went down Texas A&M was projected to have a good season, and then they disappointed, so that didn't help us out any. And then, like you said, losing to LSU and Auburn, our 2 chances to put us back in playoff talk, just didn't help at all.
Yeah, I think that definitely playing harder teams towards the end of the season kind of affected our momentum throughout the whole season, and it's kind of hard to work your way up, I think, rather than starting strong and maybe keeping strong. So yeah, I would agree with Jayde.
Yeah, something that Alabama is known for going to the playoffs and everything, and maybe going to the championship at least. Now this year, how did you girls feel about not having Alabama in the playoffs?
It was weird. I almost felt like the playoffs weren't happening after our season ended. I kind of felt like all of college football was over. Also, I think part of that was because they played the national championship so late this year compared to normal. But it's definitely weird, especially for other students here that have gone here all 4 years. They have always gone to the playoffs, so to hear a lot of them talk about how they don't really know how to handle not being in it was really interesting.
I mean, I was just bummed. I was really looking forward to hopefully going this year. So, I mean, I hope they go next year so that we can at least experience it as seniors. So we'll have to see what happens.
How about you, Justin?
It was definitely an odd feeling. It's something that we haven't experienced in a long time. Actually playing for something more. I mean, when's the last time that Alabama wasn't playing for something more? I believe it was the 2010 season. And just, we got spoiled to the way things were and the culture that's been created by, the success that we've seen in Tuscaloosa. It was just very odd. Yeah, I have to agree with you there. It felt like football season was over, after the bowl game, that, it just wasn't really a lot of, enthusiasm, at least for Alabama fans, after that bowl victory. You really didn't want to watch, the playoff game. You really didn't want to watch the Clemson LSU contest. I mean, as a fan, yeah, you want to watch it, but when you're accustomed to seeing your team being the one you're watching, it's tough. And but a little bit of humbling every now and then is a good thing, and it's probably one of the best things that happened to our team. Complacency is a killer for momentum, and this just kind of puts us in a recheck situation. So, in one hand, it's a really good thing. It's a teachable moment. I think that it's going to put us in a position to do something great next year. But as a fan, I definitely don't want to experience an absence from the playoffs again.
Jayde and Katelyn, obviously, Alabama's been at this dynasty for the past 10 years. Do you think, not being negative, do you think the dynasty's coming to close, or you think there's more in Nick Saban and his era?
No, I do not think the dynasty is over, and I think that's been like huge talk over, this entire past few weeks that football season has been over. I don't think that losing a few games defines us as, a football school. And kind of like what Justin said, I think that this is going to change our team and only make us improve from here.
Yeah, it seems like every time we lose a game or two, the dynasty is over, and then we always come back next year or the year after that to prove that to be wrong. And I don't think Nick Saban is the kind of guy to go down losing. I think he's going to want to go out strong. So he's going to get this team back to where it needs to be, and I think we'll definitely have another championship soon.
Which the recruiting has been, Alabama has stuck in the top two. Justin, why is Alabama still in the top two in recruiting? Is it because these players see some light, or just Alabama's recruiting department is just that good?
It's because the dynasty isn't over. Just to echo what was recently said, is that every time Alabama suffers a setback, everybody wants to proclaim the sky's fallen, it's all over. And the thing is, it's just them trying to will the Bama dynasty to be over, and that doesn't happen. I think right now it's a pause or a halftime, if you will, and it's just kind of a time to kind of collect themselves again. If the dynasty was over, we wouldn't be still ranked in the top two in recruiting. We wouldn't be ranked in the top five in recruiting. If the dynasty was truly over, that would be something that would be resonating in the minds of recruits, and they'll be a little bit apprehensive when it came to signing with Alabama. And that's obviously not the case. They still feel that Alabama is the best team in the country, if not one of the best teams in the country. And a lot of them probably are using logic right now. Alabama suffered a ton of setbacks this year. They suffered horrendous injuries across the board. So they're saying in their mind, okay, the only reason why they're out of the playoff conversation this season is because of those very reasons right there. It's not because Saban's finished. He's not. So the machine is still going because these players still believe that Saban is here to stay and that there's more championships to be won.
Something to definitely look at. Is this the beginning of LSU's reign, or this is just a one-year wonder? Let's go with Katelyn and Jayde.
I definitely don't think LSU is going to have another season like they just did. They have so much turnover on staff already. They just lost Joe Brady, who I think really turned their offensive game around, to the NFL, and then you also lost your quarterback, Joe Burrow, to the NFL, along with so many other key players that declared for the draft. And not to say that they can't build back up, but next year they're definitely going to have a down season trying to rebuild. It'll be interesting to see how Coach O does, though, with this when he has to recruit his own players and really start over on staff. So I'm excited to see that for them.
I mean, with a coach like Coach O, I think that kind of like what Jayde said, I don't think they will do as well as they did this year, but I think that LSU's program will definitely be rebuilding the next 2 years. And, I mean, Coach O did it this year. I think he can definitely do it again.
Justin, can Coach O have a good recruiting season this upcoming offseason, I mean?
Well, yeah, absolutely. He's going to have a good recruiting season because it's still LSU. It's still one of the top programs in the country, and they just came off of a national championship. So yeah, they're still going to be able to pull the recruits in. Now, does that mean that this is the LSU era? No, not necessarily. LSU is going to be doing some major rebuilding next year, and and I don't want to take away from what Coach O has done, but a lot of Coach O's success this year is a testament of Joe Brady. And by Coach O actually turning the offense over to Joe Brady and allow him to develop the players and to call the shots himself, that completely changed everything. And now he's gone. But also with him, some serious players. Joe Burrow. Some receivers. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And the list goes on and on. In that defense, you've got the major defensive players leaving. Grant Delpit, who's been the heart and soul of that defense, is going to be gone. So next year, I'd be very surprised if LSU was able to continue with what they did this year. I think they're going to have a little bit of a setback, and I think they're definitely going to have a little bit of a setback when Alabama comes into Baton Rouge.
Something to definitely look at. Of course, LSU, I think it's at 6th or 7th when it comes to recruiting, and Alabama's still number 2. So we'll see what happens. Of course, Joe Burrow was a transfer, and of course he had a good year. But we'll see what happens next year. It's hard to repeat, and Alabama has been consistent. There's players that leave, but they got these recruits that just come in and they just pick off where they left off. But there's some important returning players coming back from Alabama. And Justin, what are like the key players that you think will be good, or like the ones that are returning that are key for Alabama?
The first and foremost is Dylan Moses. He was the main one that Alabama needed to come back to really get things back in place and playing at the level we're accustomed to on that defense, especially from a leadership role. He was really missed from a leadership standpoint, and then also from a standpoint of developing these younger guys. And that makes a big difference when you have a veteran leader calling the shots, who is definitely the quarterback of that defense. So that was absolutely huge. And then, Najee Harris coming back, that's big. But I was really thrilled and excited that we're going to get another year of Devontae Smith. That, to me, is one of the biggest keys. He's going to be back with Jalen Waddle, and it's really going to help propel Mac Jones into another level. So I'm excited that he's going to have Devontae and Jalen, at his disposal next year. I mean, those are the two of my biggest, returnees. What do you think, girls?
Well, yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I definitely think Dylan Moses is the biggest return. But also, with offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood back, we now have 4 returning offensive linemen, I believe I read. So that's going to be also really helpful for Mac Jones or whoever we see play at the quarterback position. And then, like you said, Najee coming back, I think we'll see a lot more running the ball. Our backfield is going to be stacked. We are basically overcrowded back there at this point. So hopefully, whether it be Mac or we have to go with a new quarterback, it'll just help take the pressure off of them to have so many options with running the ball. And then, like you said, I'm also really excited to see Devontae Smith back, and that'll just be another option for us at wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jayde and Justin both covered it, so I have to agree with them.
Justin Riley, is Mac the man for next year for Alabama's quarterback?
Absolutely. I absolutely think so. And right now, I think that somebody's going to have to steal it from him. But, you know, I know that Bryce Young is getting all the hype, and rightfully so after what he was able to do in high school. I think people are overlooking Talia, and I think that's going to be a mistake. But right now, the way I see it, this is Mac Jones' team. And until I'm proven otherwise, and until there's like this fall from grace, I just don't think I don't think that he's going to relinquish the role.
Girls, what do you think about Mac Jones? Are you hearing Mac Jones is the man for next year?
I mean, I was really shocked and happy with Mac Jones and how he played. I think that he's definitely going to play next year, and I think that he's great for our team and what our team needs.
Also, Saban always picks experience before anything. He loves experience, and Mac Jones definitely got it this season with Tua being out for injury, so that's definitely going to work to his advantage. Of course, Frost is very talented, but I definitely think Mac is going to be the starter from the beginning.
Justin, what was this rumor about Jerry Jeudy coming back? I mean, there's been reports he's coming back, but now he's entering the NFL. What was the whole situation there?
Just all a bunch of senseless Twitter garbage. I mean, the guy's going to be a top 5 pick. He may even be a top 3 pick. So it'd be absolutely absurd to think that he would turn down that kind of money and be in that composition it would put him in. And, major networks weren't covering this, so there's a lot of other, wishful thinking folks out there. So I really didn't buy into any of it. And like I said, he wasn't going to come back.
Girls, were you hearing any rumors about Jerry Jeudy coming back, or you always thought that he was going to enter the NFL?
Yeah, I didn't hear any rumors about that, but if I would have, I absolutely wouldn't have believed it.
Alex Leatherwood, Justin, he's coming back. Is that a big piece coming back?
Oh, absolutely. He's keeping together that strong offensive line, and we're going to have Landon Dickerson there as well. And that's going to make a big difference for Mac Jones and what he's going to be able to do. And this amazing backfield that is loaded beyond belief to be able to do some work. This is really huge. We got an NFL caliber offensive line again, and I think it's going to allow us to do what we have been accustomed to, and that's dominate the line of scrimmage.
Girls, Alex Leatherwood, what do you think about him coming back?
Yeah, he touched on it, and I mentioned it earlier. I think it's just going to be a dominant offensive line, and it'll be very helpful for Mac.
Mac attack. Now, Bryce Young, Justin, obviously he will be a freshman. Will we see glimpses of him next year, or do you think we'll see him in 2 years?
I think that he'll be used in some point in some way. How much, I don't know. Like I said, it's Mac Jones' team, so I'm not expecting to see Bryce Young try out there in the first game unless there's some injury, God forbid. I think he'll be integrated into the offense in some way, probably a small way right now. But I really feel like this is Mac Jones' year, and Bryce Young will be it next the following year, depending on what he does against Talia.
Girls, quick question. Obviously, I've heard Justin's opinion on it. Should Tua Tagovailoa stayed in Alabama, or he should have gone to the NFL?
We've talked about this so much. We kind of have been going back and forth. I mean, in my opinion, before he made his announcement, I really thought that it was evident for him to stay at Alabama to get the rehab that he needed. But I do think that ultimately he's, of course, going to make the right decision and the smartest decision for him.
Yeah, we were surprised. We thought in the beginning he would definitely be coming back after he made the announcement. My opinion on this kind of shifted to that it's actually better for him to enter the draft rather than coming back and risking another injury his senior year. And then I think that really would have shot down his draft stock a lot. So at least at this point, teams know what he can do, and he's well on his way to rehabbing. So I think it was best for him to enter the draft.
Let's go into predictions for Alabama football. What are your predictions for next season? What are your expectations?
Well, I mean, coming off of this past season, I think that we have a lot to work on, especially with our defense and also recovering from a lot of injured players. But I think that, that's going to motivate us to come back a completely different team. And I definitely see that coming from the coaching staff along with all of the players.
Yeah, I agree. And also you can't use we don't have a good strength of schedule argument next year. We do play Georgia the third game. We open with USC, which has been a pretty disappointing team lately, but it's better than Duke. And then, of course, we're going to play at LSU, and then Auburn will come to us, and we will see what happens with Texas A&M and Ole Miss and Mississippi State, Arkansas, etc. So that'll be interesting, but I think overall we're going to have a really good comeback season. It's going to be a lot of off-season work.
That's a pretty good schedule, which I haven't seen the schedule for next season, but what you girls have been telling me looks pretty, a little bit more difficult than this past season. So for sure it's good. So do you think Alabama will make the playoffs next season?
I think so. I hope so. But looking at our schedule and knowing the talent that we have coming back and coming in, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't.
I completely agree, and I'm hoping that we definitely do make the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely something that I know that Nick Saban puts his goals pretty high when it comes to, where he wants to finish off. Of course, he wants to be the champion, which is a great mentality to be in. Let's pivot towards Alabama basketball. They're 11-7, then 4-2 in the conference. And I believe they're third or fourth in the SEC. What are your expectations for Alabama basketball this season?
I mean, hiring Nate Oates was probably the best decision that has happened for Alabama basketball in a long time with his fast tempo and positionless style that he runs. I think that's what our team needed. I think that it obviously has been shown throughout these past few games, especially when we saw them playing Auburn. Our team has become super fluid and making a lot more shots because we are shooting a lot more. And as far as that, we have a lot of great players on the team.
Yeah, just everything she said is so true. He really was the best hire for this team. You have seen so many of these players develop under him that just weren't developing under Avery Johnson. And I think right now we are projected with a 92% chance to make the tournament. So definitely moving our way up on that also.
Well, and also in the beginning of the season after the first few games, the players during their interviews were saying that, Nate Oates' style was really difficult for them to adjust to at first. But obviously you can see from the past few games that they have been able to adjust to that, especially with our away game win last night. I think that proves that not only do we do well on our home court, but also we can make it happen and adjust to other courts as well, especially at Vandy.
Yeah, definitely. Alabama is at 6 in the SEC. Do you expect them to make March Madness?
I think that's hard to establish right now.
NIT it is.
I mean, with how we're playing right now, possibly, yeah. I mean, I have really high hopes for this team.
If we could continue with consistency, I could see it. We're going to have to stop making all these mistakes and turnovers and sloppy play in order for that to happen, especially with away games. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes. But if we play kind of ball like we did against Auburn, against everyone, then yeah, definitely.
And obviously we had a free throw problem in the beginning, and that has improved as well so much. And I think at this point we can only improve from here, which has obviously been shown. And so I think it's really possible.
Being students in Alabama, what do you think about Alabama basketball? Do you think they're shifting towards, hey, let's put more resources towards basketball, or what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, I think that a lot of the students, I think a lot of the Alabama community is drawn to this team because there are a good amount of players on this team that are from Alabama, so that draws in just a large fan base. As for the students, I think that's become a lot more popular for students to want to come to the games, especially with a new hire like Nate Oates, and the amount of improvements that have been seen, I think has really drawn in a large student fan base this season.
Yeah, definitely. I believe with hiring Oates is definitely putting the program at a different level. Of course, like you always see with Alabama, they put like the resources towards through football rather than basketball. But obviously, there's other sports as well in the Alabama organization. What other sports will we be covering? We'll be covering for like the springtime.
Well, we're working on gymnastics and then baseball as well, and softball. We're going to hit on all sports, but mainly focus on baseball, softball, and gymnastics.
Is basketball number 2 when it comes to Alabama sports, or is it another sport?
I think a lot of people would argue that possibly softball is up there, especially as well as they've been doing lately. But just America's sport is football. I think basketball also. So maybe, but from an Alabama standpoint, I mean, we've been a gymnastics school in the past. We've recently been a softball school. So Alabama is just a sports school. Obviously, football takes the title, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that, definitely when it comes to recruiting and all the resources and how much Nick Saban gets paid, which is great. He definitely, you see a lot of resources more moving towards football, but we've seen a lot towards basketball. So hopefully we'll see the glory days of Alabama basketball coming back, and hopefully see them in March Madness. Of course, they're behind Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, and LSU. Wow, number 1 in the SEC in basketball. So we'll see if they could translate what they did in football into basketball. Anyways, anything else before we head into predictions?
No, I think we covered it.
The Super Bowl, Kansas City versus San Francisco 49ers. Girls, what are your predictions for that Super Bowl game in a week?
Well, the Chiefs are favored to win by just 1 point. Although, since I'm from California, I'm hoping for the 49ers, and I'm also a huge Jimmy G fan. So I think both good teams, but I think that the Chiefs will pull out with the win.
Yeah, I agree.
The Chiefs pull it off. I think it's interesting you say that because I've been going back and forth. I was thinking like the 49ers, but if Kansas City goes ahead, I've never seen Jimmy G coming back from behind. And the offense that they have is not as explosive as Kansas City. So the only way is 49ers get ahead and just play defense against the Chiefs.
Yeah, we know the Chiefs can come back from a large deficit, so it'll be interesting, but I have the Chiefs pick to win.
It has happened twice already for the Chiefs, so they definitely know when they're behind and able to come back. Random question, what is your favorite kind of pie? Apple, pecan, lemon meringue, or pumpkin?
I actually don't like pie, but I guess my favorite dessert, if I could change it to that, would probably be ice cream.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I actually don't like pie either. I don't think I've ever ate it at like a family event. Maybe like pumpkin pie on like Thanksgiving, but that's about it.
No way. Unbelievable. It's both you girls don't like pies. That's interesting. Apple pie is winning by 60%. Pecan is winning by 30%. Lemon meringue is in third place, 10%, and pumpkin got 0.
Well,
so, obviously pumpkin is more of a Thanksgiving thing. It's not served all year, so maybe that's why no one's picked it today. So you could go on twitter.com to the Sportscast1 to vote on what is your favorite pie, because National Pie Day is today. Girls, tell us your future plans for the Bama Network. And, what are your future plans? What do you want to see for the next year?
Like we kind of talked about in the beginning, we're doing this all for the experience, all for fun. I think that we are super shocked, but, also grateful how much it has taken off on Twitter. but all of our work is actually on YouTube. So we're really hoping that, everyone from Twitter kind of moves over to our YouTube channel so they can actually watch our videos and watch what we put together. And I think just to continue growing our sports knowledge, I think what draws the audience to watch us is that we don't have the same opinions. So I think that it's kind of cool to watch us agree to disagree on our channel. So yeah, definitely to build our YouTube channel.
And what is the best way to reach you and to find out more about the Bama Network?
Well, I guess it would be Twitter. Twitter's our biggest platform, and we always check our notifications. We try to interact with people that talk to us on there. So if you're trying to reach us, we have our DM set to where anybody can get through to us. We also have our email in our bio, so for anyone trying to contact us, DM or just tweet us or use the email.
And what is the email?
It is networkbama@gmail.com.
And there you have it. If you go to Twitter at twitter.com / the Bama Network, you can find out more information. They cover not just Alabama football, but they cover Alabama sports throughout the year because college sports go through, even through the summer. I believe baseball goes through the summer as well.
Yes.
And you can follow us on thesportscast.net, for the latest and greatest when it comes to sports news. And we're going to pull in Justin here a little bit because he wants to say goodbye. And let's add him up. And, of course, on Twitter at thesportscast1, we've been live tweeting games. And, Justin Riley, we're at the conclusion of the show. Quick question. What is your recap over the show?
Well, I didn't get really a chance to really speak a whole lot just because of things that's been going on. I didn't get a chance to really speak about, what Nate Oates has been doing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's continue there. Really quick. 60 seconds.
60 seconds. The biggest thing for me is just a complete change in the atmosphere of that team. They're more of a unit. They're more of a family now. And that's been kind of absent here in seasons past. And another thing that's really sticking out to me is the fact that we seem to be better conditioned. The endurance is there. Players are actually taking less breaks, and they're coming right back into the game. And what's really incredible is it's like a relay race at sometimes. You got one player who runs like the first leg of the race, and then like John Petty, he'll come alive in the first half, and he'll run, and then it's like he hands it off to Kira Lewis, and then he just becomes the alpha dog in the second half a lot of times, and he shines. It's an amazing team atmosphere I'm seeing. Everybody working as one unit, and they're embodying like a blue collar type work ethic, and it's just amazing to see that. And it's got everybody believing that we're going to be back in the NCAA tournament. And I honestly feel like it's going to happen this year.
Well, okay,
but
which is actually our my next question was that will they make March Madness? The girls don't think so. They're not really 100% confident about that.
Well, I think it can go either way, but I've seen what Alabama is capable of, and I feel like if we can kind of continue to play at that kind of level and maybe eliminate some of the mistakes that we're making, like the turnovers. We had 25 last night against Vandy. That's got to be taken away. You kind of feel like at some point they may slow down a little bit, and if they do, it's mainly just because of the youth of the team. But I honestly feel in my gut that they're going to somehow edge into the tournament. So, yeah, I believe they're going to make it.
You're a believer. And finally, what is we'll make your Super Bowl prediction next week because we're having the Super Bowl show next week, like the big one. What is your favorite kind of pie?
Whatever you put in front of me, whatever you want to cook.
Well, you get apple, pumpkin, pecan, or lemon meringue.
I guess pecan.
And lemon pecan is winning 30%. Apple is winning by 60%. Lemon meringue is 10%. Pumpkin is getting 0. I don't understand why.
Oh, well. We'll figure out the mystery one day, man.
Justin Riley, what's the best way to reach you online to talk to you a little bit about pumpkin pie?
Well, I hope you choose another subject, but on Twitter it's at Justin Riley 7, and then I help run the Sportscast on Twitter, Instagram, as well as our LinkedIn, and that's at the Sportscast 1. You can reach me in any of those ways.
Yeah, it'd be really odd. Girls, how about you girls? What's the best way to reach you to talk to you about pumpkin pie?
My Twitter is just my name, at Jayde Saylor, so JaydeSaylor.
And mine's at Katelyn _Heffler, KATELYN_HEFFLER.
And what is your sports network Twitter handle?
Just Bama Network.
And you can follow us on the Sportscast 1 at the Sportscast 1 or on the website, thesportscast.net. Trivia, whoever can get this right. Any Alabama players playing in the Super Bowl this year?
Yep, there's one.
Who is it?
That is Reggie Ragland.
Really? What year did he play for Alabama?
He was back in the first playoff run, and a couple of seasons before that.
Okay. Well, anyways, girls.
First year of the playoffs, he was there.
Oh, he was there. Girls, any closing words?
I think there's actually two.
Two? Who's the second one?
Well, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. Garrig Dieter.
Justin?
Garrig Dieter.
And what team does he play for? The Chiefs, or does he?
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Gotta do some
I
research
just
on
saw
that.
where Alabama football Instagram had posted for Reggie and for him. Congrats.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is he on the active roster now? Yeah, Garrett Dieter is on the team.
Not sure.
He was in practice squad till right now.
Well, he's been on the practice squad for the majority of the season, and there were times that he was activated to the main roster, but I wasn't sure if he is actually going to be on the active roster for the Super Bowl. So that's why I didn't say his name earlier.
Okay. Well, we'll ask Brian Glaze about that a little bit later on. Another Sportscast guest on it. Anyways, girls, any closing words? Really glad that you were on. Hope to have you in the future. But any parting words?
No, but thank you guys for having us on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
And Justin, any closing words before the Super Bowl?
Well, just glad to talk about Alabama football and Alabama sports in general. Glad to finally have the girls on. Just really appreciate the time you took out of your busy schedule to spend with us, and hopefully we can do something in the future.
Yeah, definitely have a way to collaborate in the future. You know, like the Sportscast is a very young network as well. We started about 2 years ago, and we have an array of different guests, different analysis from Oregon, college recruiting. We got our pro Tua crowd here and our anti Tua crowd, so we definitely like to mix it up a little bit, have some fair and balance. And but Alabama is our biggest fan base is Alabama, so don't get this wrong. But anyways, everyone, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Absolutely. Roll Tide.